it feels like there might have been a little more than just trying to win the contest going on here. Because Chantel's into it.
And I feel like I am getting more comfortable with exploring bisexuality.
I mean, listen, those women were going at it. At it. I was like, I didn't even think these two were even on the same page. It was like literally within the last 2 episodes, Courtney was there literally on Tim's side the whole time when Jennifer was even trying to, have her say. In fact, there was even a part where Jennifer said to Chantel, like, you don't know what this is all about. You need to stay out of it. You see what I'm saying? So to see them two come together to become so passionately intimate with the kissing blew my mind purely because of the split between which side Chantel goes for when it comes to Tim and Jennifer. But hey, these two did not hold back. They were put on a whole freaking PORN show. I was worried for the men in the building, man. I was like, yeah, there's too much testosterone in that building to be able to handle 2 women getting it down to that caliber. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though, because of the passionate kiss that her and Jennifer shared, Chantel's now here referencing again about her sexuality, which I know is something that some people aren't necessarily a fan of her doing it because they feel like it's just too much for the season. But I will say this, though. After that display of them both two going back and forth, it is very evident that, Chantel has no issues with obviously being intimate with the woman, or at least, giving the woman obviously another passionate kiss. So I would say that she's definitely at that stage now where I can say, you know what, maybe she's not so confused about her being potentially bisexual. But she makes it clear though in the episode that even though she is now exploring that sexual side of her life, it doesn't mean that she doesn't want to at least pursue something with men. Which, of course, we are going to find out about.
Okay, huge. After having a wild kiss with Jen, I'm walking away feeling confused. I don't want to put a label on anything yet. And Rob is one of the hottest guys here, so why not ask him out and see where it goes?
So, after winning, obviously the competition between the women, they all get to choose, obviously, which guy they wanted to take out, and she ended up choosing Rob. Again, I don't know why, because, she even made it clear, I guess, but to be fair, this was behind the sheets, so this obviously would have been after, but either way, though, last week's episode, she did sit there and say that the way Rob talks to me compared to talks to Jennifer is quite different, but then again, that also might have been behind the sheets, which was after this, which means that she maybe didn't recognize these things until after this season was filmed. But either way, though, to be honest with you, I didn't feel like it was a good idea for her to pick Rob. One, because she's on Tim's side, and even though Rob and Tim are friends or whatever, it's just more than the fact that Rob is messing with Jennifer. Jennifer happens to be the woman that is against him. And also on top of that, that at this moment in time, Rob has already been with Elise. He's now pursuing Jennifer. Okay, and then also on top of that, he's a part of a love triangle with Jennifer and Cole. So picking Rob doesn't make any sense. Like, are you trying to be added into the mess that Rob is obviously involved in? Because obviously so far this season, he's only involved in mess when it comes to the women, you know what I mean? And also, I guess, even comes with the men, aka that being Cole. So to be honest, her choosing Rob is actually quite diabolical. She says it's because he's one of the most attractive guys in the in the villa or whatever. But here's the thing though, if he's one of, that clearly tells me that you have another option of someone else that you can go for. So why did she not just decide to go for somebody else instead? She didn't have to then pick Robbie, you know what I mean? But this is one of the things that I have an issue with this show. I thought the concept of the show was for people who are 90-day cast members to mingle with the people that they're bringing in. I thought the idea was for them to find love, hunt for love with somebody else that's different from, that's never been on the network. But instead, we're seeing people literally mating together with people that already are part of the show. So really and truly, they should have just done the show with just cast members and not even brought in these extras, because at this point, these people are just extras apart from, I guess, Cole and maybe Elise. Yeah, maybe Elise, you know what I mean? Anyway, I guess maybe this is all for drama. Maybe something's going to come off this, obviously, within the next few episodes. Maybe some drama's going to be created with Chantel and Rob. Who knows? Probably unlikely, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, though, I feel like Chantel should have never picked Rob based on her reasons. I feel like she could have had a better time by picking somebody completely different. But anyway, we continue. My apologies. Oh, yeah. If you're still here, it means you're liking the content. So like and subscribe. Come on now. Let's get into the next one.
Rocky, you want to go on a date?
obviously, you know, when it came to Tiffany, she wasn't happy because obviously Rocky is somebody that's on her list to get to know. Obviously, she had a date with Carlo, which didn't really go to plan because they had a conversation about her being a single mother, and he did say that is a new territory for him, but it's something that he's happy to explore. But for her, she said, okay, that's fine. But with that being said, I'm still gonna see if she can still see if she can pursue something with Rocky because she wants to try and find a man that doesn't want to explore being with a single mom. She wants to find a man that's already, you know, okay with it, just what I'm saying. But Carlo's still there as a little backboner, you know what I'm saying? But either way though, because obviously Elise decided to pick, she's obviously not happy. And to be fair, these are the kind of things that you want to see. You know, you want to see someone like a Tiffany going for someone that's not a part of the cast, and they're going for someone like that. And then also you want to see other people who are been adding a little bit of dynamic by saying, oh, actually, I want to be with that person. This is where the storyline should be at. Cast members going for those folks, and then da 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 da. But nonetheless, though, would anything come of it? Probably not, because right now Tiffany, this whole season, she's been portrayed as just an angel. So yeah, no drama at all. But anyway, with that being said, though, let's continue.
Elise and I have definitely been getting closer, but it's very difficult for me sometimes to figure out if a girl is actually romantically interested in me or if they just want to be my friend.
Diabolical. Like, the guy has spoken to this woman literally for like one day, probably less than a day, to be honest with you. And because he found out that Elise isn't that bad of a person and she's actually quite fun to be around, he's thinking, oh, maybe something could happen between us. Like, bruh, end of the day, if you've obviously been partnered up with her and you just found the fact that, you know, maybe she's not that person that you thought she was, and you recognize she actually is a down-to-earth cool person, it just means she's just being herself. It doesn't mean that she's trying to impress you or she's trying to have a vibe because she's trying to get you over. No. Elise is just in that stage now where she's like, listen, I've done the drama with Rob. I just want to now just enjoy the show for what it is. You know what I mean? Enjoy the experience for what it is. If something comes of it, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You see what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, for Tim to jump the gun and assume that she was going to pick him to be her date just because they spent a couple hours together on a challenge is ludicrous behavior. And also on top of that, she probably hasn't forgotten that you was probably judging her when she first came into this villa thing, whatever, anyway, you know what I mean? And she's obviously been aware of the fact that you roll your eyes at people, that you obviously look down on people, you speak down on people, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, she just wants to be herself. So he's thinking because she's no. And this is the thing. He is literally now thinking that maybe something could happen with Elise because she has proven herself to him that she isn't that much of a bad of a person. That itself alone is a very bad mentality to have because she's not in here to prove anything to you. Nor are you in here to prove anything to her. You know, but this is how Tim behaves sometimes. He judges first, then he sees if you can, you know, then he sees if you're actually a good person or not. That is not a cool way of going about things, you know. But nonetheless, though, the fact that he thought that Elise was going to be interested in him is crazy work. I mean, I said what I said. Nonetheless, though, let's continue.
Rocky, I'm just bummed, you know, because I really like her and I thought we were a good match.
Just because you like her doesn't mean that you're a good match, you know what I mean? Honestly, I just feel like we're just now experiencing Elise for who she is, you know, not for the crazy person that she was before. You know, I feel like she's learned from her mistakes, and that mistake was going head in for Rob because she probably thought he was the hottest guy in there. And now, to be honest, she's probably not even finding much of the other guys attractive because even when you came to her picking, she was like, I guess I'll pick Rocky. And to be fair, it's probably because them two probably have been getting to know each other anyway, off camera on just a casual level. And maybe he's just somebody that she's also comfortable being around. You see what I'm saying? So it probably makes sense why she picked him. So Tiffany probably has nothing to worry about. But hey ho, if they want to make things interesting, they should definitely make Elise and Rocky kind of, you know, get a little bit get it together, and then let Tiffany get a bit wound up. You know what I mean? Create that controversy. But yeah, whatever. Nonetheless, though, let's continue with the next one. Of course, I know you're still here, so like the video and subscribe.
Throw away all the water, which I expected, then I don't feel like he is a threatening to me because I know a lady with good sense cannot have romantic feelings for cold. Just can't get it right.
I mean, honestly, Osman and Cole are legit like the same person. Actually, no. They are, but they're not. But let me just speak on Osman. The fact that he claims every single episode that he is not threatened by a cult, and no woman should ever want to be Colt because why would they want to pick Colt over him? Well, why do you allow Colt to live in your head so rent-free? Like, he keeps mentioning Cole every single time. Like, if you're that guy, stop mentioning him and do your thing. But here's the thing, though. He genuinely believes that he's going to win Courtney over purely because he believes that he is better than Colt in every single way. He thinks that's all he needs, rather than actually running some good game. You know, for example, obviously, Arsenal to actually do things with him. Doesn't even have to be date orientated, okay? I don't see him ever going up to Courtney and saying, "Hey, so tomorrow do you want to go walk on the beach? Hey, so later on this evening, would you like to grab a drink? Hey, would you like to do this? Hey, would you like to do that?" You see what I'm saying? I don't see him even trying to actually get to know her. Yeah, of course, they've got the history of knowing each other before the show in Turkey, blah, 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 blah. But obviously, that's clearly history. That is in the past. You got to now proceed with the present, especially if he really wants her, and also if he really thinks that Colt may have a chance. Well, then just make sure you're keeping occupied by constantly asking her if she's free to do certain things. You know what I mean? But the way he's gonna ask it, you know, he's got to play around with it. He can't always say, "Hey, do you want to come with me?" No. So he can't always ask it in a way of like, he's asking her. How can I put it? So there were times when he's gonna where he should ask her like this: "Tomorrow morning, I'm going for a walk on the beach. Would you like to join me?" Because that means he's saying that this is my plan and I'm going to do this plan, but it's up to you if you want to come. That's how he needs to ask her in some situations. And then in other situations, like for example, I guess if it's like the evening situation, in the morning, he should say, "This is what I'm going to do. Do you want to come with me?" In the evening, on the other hand, then he could be like, "Hey, do you want to come? Would you like to get a drink with me?" Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. And trust me when I tell you, there's levels to that, because you see, generally speaking, in the morning, you're not really going to ask someone out in a date format, to be honest, because in the morning, some of us, you know what I mean? Like, do I really want to get up with that? So it's like you're giving that person less of a stress if you're just saying, "Hey, I'm going for a walk in the morning. Would you like to come with me?" Because that person has less of a stress answering that question, because then they can think about it and be like, "Okay, well, I'm not being, well, he's not asking me as if I have to go. He's asking me so I have an option to either stay or go." And that gives them the mind a mental stimulation of more relaxation. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So therefore she understands that. But if he says, "Oh, you know, so tomorrow morning, you know, wait, do you want to come with me for a walk in the morning?" Like, I know it doesn't sound, trust me, the way you word things definitely matters. That instantly gives a more pressure of, "Oh, so I've got to wake up in the morning. Oh, I've got to do this." You see what I'm saying? Which can be not a turn off for people, but it can be something that can be less encouraging for someone to want to join you. But if it's the evening, you know, obviously you've been awake, then obviously it doesn't really matter as much. You can easily be like, you know, "Would you like to join me for a drink later on this evening?" Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. I mean, to be fair, it's better if you say that rather than say, "I'm going for a drink later on, join," because it sounds like as if you may have a drink issue if you say, "I'm going," regardless if you're coming or not. So we've got to be specific about the things we say, okay? Damn, man, I've been running too much game in the last couple of videos, man. Jeez, you motherfuckers ain't even paying me, man. I wonder how many men right now, women out here, that I'm giving game to, and they're all getting hooked up. I've been very consistent with this game madness. Oh, damn. But it's just the simple things. It's just the simple things. You know what I mean? People just overcomplicate it. You know. Now, I will say this though, okay? I will say this, bear this in mind. Now, if you say to someone, men, specifically men, okay? That's women too, okay? But as a man, I can only speak for us, okay? If you say to a woman, "Hey, I'm going for a walk, or I'm going for a hike, or I'm going for whatever, would you like to join me?" Okay? If she says no the first time, that's cool. If she then rejects it again in whatever way the second time, at that point, don't ever ask ever again. Don't ever ask it. Actually, no. Yeah, don't ever ask again. Trust me. Because you're wasting your time. Okay? Now, there is also the other way. If you ask the first time, "Would you like to come?" If they say, "Yeah, I want to come," and then they end up canceling you, depending on the vibe you got of the cancellation, don't bother asking again if they would like to join you doing something. But if the vibe feels genuine with the cancellation, then you want to do it more the way the ball is more in their court. So that means, so for example, if you say, "I'm going to the gym tomorrow, would you like to join me?" And they say, "Yeah, no, I'll be down, I'll be there, But then the next day comes and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't come today, blah, blah. We will rearrange for another time." Generally speaking, you should then allow her to rearrange. In that point in time, you can be like, "Okay, that's cool, just let me know when you're free." Leave the ball in their court. Because if you're going back to ask again twice, bruh, it's not that it's a bad look. It's really not. It's just that you're now putting yourself in a position as if you are always trying to beg that person for their attention. Now, it's very different. Now, let's say you ask them, hey, would you like to go to the gym? And they say, yeah. Then you go to the gym together, whatever. And then the next time you meet up, you're like, oh, hey, would you like to go for a walk? That is fine. It is fine for you to then continue to keep asking them if they are saying yes every single time. But if they say no, do not put yourself in a position where you are still asking. Put yourself in a position where you either leave the ball in their court or you just leave it. Trust me, man. Trust me. And the same thing can happen for women too, you know what I mean? Okay, same gender type relationships or whatever, or for women that don't mind asking the man, okay? Because trust me, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you are chasing someone that keeps rejecting you. So where you're wasting your own energy, you can put the energy into someone else who's going to say yes, 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 yes. Okay? Anyway, let's continue. My bad, on to the next one. And I know you're still here, so like the video and subscribe and get your comments going too, folks. Come on now.
A little bit about your perspective on money.
Yeah, I mean, they say love is sweet, but when there is money, the love is sweeter.
I'd say my mom's advice for me, she's like, you're a very loving and kind person. You can fall in love with anybody. Go for a man that's like rich or successful.
To be honest with you, I found this one quite interesting, to be fair. And I don't really feel like anybody's wrong per se, but let's just continue.
Okay.
Because the number one man that's like rich or successful.
Okay.
Because the number one cause for divorce is like financial issues. So.
And to be fair, it is true. It is true, you know. Obviously, you know, a lot of divorces do come down to financial aspects, you know. And to be fair, Courtney's got a very good point in terms of what her mum says. Obviously, you know, if you're somebody who's got a good personality, you can fall in love with anybody. Then yeah, you should be looking. No, you shouldn't necessarily be looking for someone with money, but you should be looking for something more than just the love aspect, because you know you can already give that. Okay, so there's no point in you looking for something that's easy for you. You know what I mean? You need to, you know, seek something else. Obviously, for her, it is the financial stability that she wants from the man, because she knows that she has the ability to be able to love that person, look after that person, care for that person, and all that kind of stuff. Which does make you wonder why she's still single, right? What she said was correct. Like, there's nothing wrong with what she said, but why are you still single though? You must be doing something else that's not really, you know, applicable in these relations, clearly. You know, I mean, some people may confuse as someone who's a gold digger. It's not necessarily the case, because honestly, when we are born, women are raised to love from the moment that they're born. Men are raised to hunt. You know, we don't really learn the concept of emotions, feelings, love, and whatnot until we get a little bit older, while women are pretty much being put in that in the very beginning. That's why for a woman to love something, it is very easy for them to do it within a shadow of a doubt. For us men, on the other hand, it's a bit of a different situation. That's why, generally speaking, when men do love, men end up hurting more, because we have less years of experience around that emotion or the thing that brings us towards it. Obviously, when you're born into a world where you're taught about it, it doesn't affect you as much. But obviously, everything is always subjective, right? So there is truth to what she's saying. You know, end of the day, there are women out there that know that they understand this, and therefore they just want to be there for their man, but at the same time they also want to be there for their kids. They want to be the one at home doing so therefore they need a man who is financially stable, which does make a lot of sense. It is not necessarily a gold digger type mentality. A gold digger mentality is something completely different, okay? But that's not what we're talking. We're talking about what is being meant here by Courtney's mother in what she said. But again, though, clearly Courtney didn't take the memo completely well, because she's still single. She should have been, you know, yeah. But anyway, and then Osman says the same thing. Osman obviously says that money is obviously something that he also cherished, but that clearly tells me that. But this is where it gets a bit different, okay? Osman obviously comes from a culture where obviously the man having the money is obviously a very key thing, because the man obviously ends up being the king of the house, the ruler, all that kind of stuff. The only thing that you have to be careful about the women is that if you are with a man who traditionally is brought up to understand that he is going to be the breadwinner, he's the one that's going to provide, you got to be careful of how he was brought up, because some men are brought up in a way where they understand this at a respectful level. They understand that this is their responsibility, this is their role, and this is what they would do for their wife and their kids, because it's something that they are, you know, it's something that they're born into, and they can do it in a very healthy way. But then there are some who do it in a controlling way. Some men believe that having money, and some men believe being the breadwinner and having the woman not work means that they can control that woman. They can determine obviously when she can breathe and not breathe. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? This is when the financial toxic stuff can come into play. So that one has to be careful. So again, obviously, you know, I understand why Osman and Kimberly, but why Osman and Courtney both said what they said. But Coach, on the other hand, had something else to say.
And like just in general,
But what if love goes away?
love won't go away.
It
though.
does.
It's just something that's temporary. Love won't go away.
It
though.
does.
I feel like love is something that's internal. Money is just something that's temporary. I wish somebody would be different.
To be fair, subjective. End of the day, love and money can both be temporary. If someone is, and this is where the gold digger thing comes in. If somebody's with you literally because of your money, 100% that means that the love that they claim to give you will also be temporary because their love is based on your bank account. But don't get it twisted. There are many people out there women out there that want to be housewives, but at the same time, if the man was to lose his job, they will still stick by him until he's able to get back on his feet, and they will support him. Then there's the ones that if you lose it, they then just run away. To be honest with you, like love can be temporary too, just as much as, in fact, love can fade. It can easily fade. Okay, as well as money. Money comes and goes all the time. Love can fade here and there. That's why some of us have experienced a bit in and out of different relationships, in and out of different connections. You know what I mean? And that's why there's also this thing about first love. You know what I mean? Oh, this was my first love. Da 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 da. So I see where Colt's coming from. And he's not wrong. Actually, he's wrong. But at the end of the day, the matter of fact is, though, what it comes down to mostly is the people involved in that relationship. Yes, there are people who can survive a relationship purely just based on the fact that they have love for each other, and they will go through every single struggle possible, even if it means that they live their whole lives with literally next to no money, paycheck to paycheck or whatever, but because that is just the way them two met, that is the way they built their foundation. Yes, love can be more than enough, but then obviously there's people who from a different family tree or different type of upbringing, like the Osman and Courtney's. For them now, on the other hand, could Osman be in a relationship if he didn't have any money? Probably not, because having money for him is key to him being in a relationship, which is why he's so bloody cocky. And Courtney, obviously, she's been raised this way. If the man doesn't have money, she's more likely to leave you, to be honest, which technically speaking would make her probably a gold digger, right? But it's all very subjective. Yeah. All I'm saying is I understand points of both angles.
But it makes me feel nervous knowing that her first important interest is money, basically. Her love language is money. And I don't have a lot of money. I feel like right now I lost again.
You know, if Court was smart, after learning that money means more to Courtney than money, and he knows that love means more to him than money, he should know that they're not a match. At that moment in time, he should be like, you know what, she's not the one for me. And this is how I know that Court's whole purpose now moving forward isn't because he wants Courtney, it's because he just wants to defeat Osman. And Courtney said last week, she doesn't know if them two are trying to fight over her, if they're trying to fight for her, or they're just trying to fight each other to see who can get her. And the fact that he's still in this little competition or whatever it is tells me that he just wants to be Osman. So yeah, that's more than enough to let me know that his intentions with her isn't what it should be. Nonetheless, though, still got one more, so let's get into it. Now, don't forget to like, subscribing. Make sure you get your comments in, folks. Come on now, those comments go a long, long way.
And you guys sat there and flirted, and you got in his face and almost touched his lips with your lips. I believe that you went home with him last night. Did that happen?
Yes, but we wanted to have the opportunity to meet each other.
When you shoot somebody, that is something that you can't do.
I mean, she was honest that she went back with Rob.
That is not okay. So he needs to behave and he needs to give me respect because he came to visit me, so I give him a chance.
She talks about how he needs to behave and give her respect purely because he shushed her when he went to defend her to speak to Tim. But she says she doesn't like to be shushed or to be silenced, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool, whatever. But she's also asking for respect in the same conversation. It's interesting. You asked for respect, but yet did you respect him that evening, though? You know, you showed him more disrespect than he showed you. I mean, it's still quite subjective whether or not he was disrespectful to you, because it looked to me as if he was just trying to be on your side. But either way, though, she wants to talk about respect. You disrespect him way much more. You went back. You literally switched. You literally took her. You walked around him to get to Rob. Then you pushed him. Then you got Rob to sit next to yourself. Then you flirted Rob in front of him. Got really close to Rob's face in front of him. Then on top of that, you then went back at Rob anyway, and you got all physical and stuff. So if she wants to talk about respect, she needs to understand that she needs to display it first before she actually wants to ask for it. So this woman right here, toxic.
That is something that I appreciate.
I know that seeing me with Rob could upset all a lot. So the fact that he apologized shows me a huge level of maturity.
I mean, yeah. Nah, I mean, I won't lie to you. It showed me that he's a simp. If I'm talking to you and then you decide to then go off with another guy and disrespect me like that, Maturity is telling me that I need to stay the hell out of. I need to stay the hell away from you. Maturity does not tell me just to just stick around and try win you over. That is nasty work. So the fact that she calls that a level of maturity is ridiculous. No. What she really means is that this shows me that this man is ready to do whatever it takes to win me over, and she likes that power. That's what it tells me about maturity in my ass. Stupidity.
I'm completely shocked that Rob is a soon married to his partner. I'm definitely going to need some time to process this information.
Jennifer.
I don't see why it really matters, to be honest with you. End of the day, the fact that obviously he's been married, yes, fair enough, he still is married, but the fact that he's had a marriage should usually show you that this is a man that doesn't worry about commitment. This is a man that is more than willing to marry someone if he feels like they're the right person. You see what I'm saying? It shows that he's not one of the people that runs away from it. So to be honest with you, it's actually a pro that it's a pro that he's actually been married, to be honest with you. Of course he still is, but because some women legit will not date you if you never had a long-term relationship before. Some women will not date you, like especially if you're in your 30s. They're looking thinking, "Rah, so are you not a man that can keep a relationship? Do you always just quit? Well, what's going on here? What's your longest relationship and whatnot?" So that's actually a pro, to be honest, if you depend on the woman. But Jennifer's just waffling some nonsense here.
Who are you going to?
And let's be, I mean, listen, this may this may trigger some people, but that's entirely up to you if it does. But anyway, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. And also on top of that, she's the one that is the single mother. So understand when it comes to baggage, as we call it, okay, him being married and going for a divorce is nowhere near to the same level of baggage compared to her being a single mom, because he's gonna have to go into a life where she's already a mother to a child, and then he also has to then slip in as that somewhat of a stepfather role or whatever role it would be. Do you see what I'm saying? And he's gonna help her raise her kid for the rest of their lives. He's getting a divorce that will be over within a few months to a year or whatever. That divorce is going. Once it's gone, it's gone. Your kid is always going to be there. So the fact that she's judging him for being married is crazy work, because she's the one that's coming with a whole other human being into the picture if they were to get together. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying just because she's a single mom, she shouldn't be judging him for being married. But at the same time, though, him being married doesn't compare to that. Doesn't compare. Because realistically, if you flip the situation now, if Rob turned around and he was like, I don't know if I can be with her because, she's got a kid. That conversation is a far bigger conversation than her saying that, well, he's still married. Okay, because, in that conversation, she has to make sure that she's bringing the right guy around her kid, first and foremost. There's so many more layers to it too. Of importance. Him being married has no importance whatsoever. But don't get me wrong, even if she wasn't a single mom, even if she was just a woman with no kids, him being married still shouldn't be relevant. But it is what it is.
The champagne date with.
I just go.
Ooh.
Rob's face. The problem with Rob is that he's too comfortable. He thought, yes, Jenny picked me last night. We went back. We got close. We was even on the same team today. Been vibing. He thought, yeah, I've got her. Nah. See, this is the problem, If you're going to put in... But to be fair, this should tell Rob one very simple thing. It should tell him that he's a pawn in her game. And I said this last week. But somebody was like, oh, you just jealous of Rob, man. You just jealous. Oh my gosh. Nah. I literally said it last week and I'll say it again. I didn't use the word pawn in the last episode, but I'm using this one. He's literally a pawn in her game. On the chessboard, he's the pawn. Point blank period. And this is every example why. Because she literally was using him to get under the skin of Cole. Cole's the one that she wants, but she wants him under her thumb. She wants to have pure control. Toxic. Rob's out here like, oh, bro, I'm like, you was literally a tool, nothing but a tool. Okay, it's that simple. She was trying to see if Cole would step up his game. That's all she was looking for. Like, she already said Rob was toxic from day one. She was never gonna get Rob on a permanent basis. But listen, could Rob have done things differently? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course he could have. Instead of being too relaxed about the fact that she picked him last week and she was all over him last week, he could have continued to, really be giving her game. Really, if he continued, the matter thing is, he wasn't really giving her that much game, to be fair, because I said it last week, I said his game is very, very poor, but hey, I'm jealous of Rob, but his game is really, really poor. But here's the thing, though. After she decided to take advantage of him or whatever, okay, he could have, potentially, then leveled up his game a little bit, which maybe would have still kept him in the driving seat, potentially, but that would have only worked if she was genuinely looking to explore something with Rob, not if she was still trying to explore something with Cole. You see what I'm saying? But either way, though, you could at least given her a head fuck. Yeah. Which, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, if I then, see, this is the maddest thing is, if I was in that position, there's two ways Rob can look at this. He can look at it as a win because he got to spend some time with Jen regardless. Or you can look at it as, okay, cool, how can I reel this back in? And that's entirely up to him. But listen, at this moment in time, because she has now picked Cole, if I am Rob, I will not let her back in again. Because then you are removing power away from her. His responsibility here is to remove power over her. If she comes back to him, trying to be all flirty, trying to be all like, yeah, Rob, da-da-da-da-da, he needs to give her the cold shoulder hard. Not in a disrespectful way, just in the way of saying, no, listen, obviously I'm just gonna, he doesn't even have to say to her, oh, things with you and I aren't working or whatever. He just needs to say, if she comes to me, he should say, no, I'm busy. He needs to now start flirting with somebody else, getting to know somebody else, and be like, no, I'm busy. Now, obviously, we know that Chantel has obviously asked him out on a date. So if I was him, but then again, that's cruel, man. You don't want to be using Chantel as a pawn in the game. It becomes nasty work at that point, because now you're just playing tick for tack. To be honest, the best thing Rob can do is literally go and find a new love interest on the show, and that's that. Okay, and hope that all works out. And if she comes back, Jennifer, tell her no. Don't even play a game. Don't even do anything to intentionally to try and actually make her jealous too, because then you're playing her game, okay? And then it becomes messy and becomes pathetic, blah, 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 blah. So if I'm him, leave her behind. Go mess with someone else. Point blank, period. Okay? Because what he doesn't want to do is mess with somebody else for the purpose of making Jennifer jealous, because that means he's hurting someone else, which isn't fair. Damn, man, Chantel's breasts, they look like they're struggling to hold up. What kind of bra? Is she even wearing a bra? Like, damn, boy, the backache she must be getting must be so real, man. Ay, damn, get the lady down.
I like that Jen is picking Cole, because it felt like a perfect, easy layup for Jen to choose me.
You see what I mean? The guy's too relaxed. This guy has lived on his looks his whole entire life, and he thinks, oh, boom, of course she's gonna choose me now. No. You was just a pawn in the game. But maybe if your game was better, things would have been different. Honestly, if you're a sad dude and you're looking to win a girl over another man, honestly, Rob's a sad dude for trying to win a girl over another man personally, because I feel like men competing for women is just ridiculous behavior. But anyway, if he really wanted to compete for her properly, okay, he should have really been dropping some hard game on her. Hard game. But he wasn't. But I will say this though. Has he dropped better game than Cole? Subjective. He's dropped better game than Cole in terms of showing that intimacy, that physical presence, saying, yeah, I want you. Giving her that opening. Cole hasn't done that. But Cole's done a better job of getting to know her. Getting close to her here. And because he's got close to her here, that's why Cole is in the driving seat. But if Cole wants to seal the deal, he now needs to go forward with the actions. But sadly for Cole, what he doesn't know is that Rob's already been there. So when he finds out, if I'm Cole now and I find out that, hold a minute, I've been putting my work in and you actually went off and done with Rob, if I'm Cole, I'm also leaving her behind and finding someone else. The grandest scheme of it is by the end of this season, both Rob and Cole should have left Jennifer behind. If either one of them end up with her by the end of this whole thing, you're both losers. Fact. Because she's played you both. Fact.
A relationship, I see his beautiful heart and I love that he's obsessed with me.
You see? Obsessed with me. And she's using that to her advantage. And it's funny because Cole even said, don't use my kindness before weakness. And I hope he means it.
Did Rob happen to say anything after you chose me over him?
And he needs to stop asking about Rob. Don't worry about what Rob said. She picked you, right? So do your thing.
You said you haven't kissed anybody yet, and is that a determining factor for you in who you like and who you don't like, or what are your feelings out of that? Why do you mention that?
Well, she's lying about not kissing anybody yet. But to be fair, the question isn't she hasn't kissed anyone yet. The question is, why haven't you tried to kiss her this whole time?
Interest mostly is you.
And that's what I'd like to hear, of course. Yes.
Us kissing.
Yes, absolutely. Thank God. And I hope that doesn't happen.
Yep, he hopes that she hasn't kissed Rob and it doesn't happen. Little does she know. Little does she know that Rob and her have already been doing a madness. Oh damn! Because in that scene there, she was saying that obviously, obviously, me and Chantel obviously got the kissing down, which is good because I wouldn't want you to see me kissing Rob. He's like, good because I wouldn't want to see that happen, and I hope it doesn't happen in general. It's already happened, buddy. The moral of the situation, despite everything that I've said in this video, if Cole and Rob have respect for each other, once they know the details of Jennifer's little situation here, they both should bounce. Whichever one stays is a loser. Whichever one goes, whether it goes because Jennifer's rejected him or because he's taken out of the race, you're a winner regardless because you've saved yourself from a freaking bullet. Let me know your thoughts down below, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.